When I land, it'll hurt. I'm gonna ride you till you can't stand up. But when you do stand up, you're gonna be Marines.
John Wayne, a towering figure in Hollywood's golden era, crafted an indomitable on-screen persona, epitomizing the rugged American spirit. Off-camera, Wayne was equally influential, though not without controversy. His staunch views often intersected with his professional world, leading to unexpected alliances and fierce confrontations.
Danaher, you owe me 350 pounds. Let's have it.
This intricate tapestry of relationships, dotted with intense feuds, offers a captivating glimpse into the life of a man who was as complex off-screen as the characters he portrayed on it. Dive in to explore the personalities that Wayne truly admired, clashed with, and the intriguing tales behind those animosities.
The winner is John Wayne in True Grit.
John Wayne's Hollywood legacy. As the sun set over the vast terrains of the cinematic American West, one figure often stood tall, casting an elongated shadow over the desolate landscapes. John Wayne, with a career spanning over 4 decades and roles in more than 71 films, Wayne's contribution to Hollywood is undeniable. His roles often evoked images of a tough, resilient, and unyielding America. In films like True Grit, The Searchers, and Rio Bravo, Wayne played characters that mirrored these very attributes: gritty, relentless, and fiercely patriotic.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience.
It's noteworthy that his rise to stardom was anything but meteoric. Having begun with minor roles in the early 30s, Wayne spent nearly a decade in Hollywood's sidelines before he landed his breakout role in John Ford's 1939 classic Stagecoach. His portrayal of the Ringo Kid, a complex character navigating a landscape filled with moral ambiguities, heralded the arrival of a new kind of hero in Hollywood, one that was flawed yet unwavering in his principles.
You're the notorious Ringo Kid.
My friends just call me Ringo. Nickname I had as a kid.
Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Wayne became synonymous with the Western genre. His collaboration with director John Ford bore cinematic masterpieces such as She Wore a Yellow Ribbon and Fort Apache. These films, rich in narrative and character depth, showcased Wayne's ability to transcend the typical one-dimensional roles of the time, adding layers of complexity to his characters. Yet his influence wasn't just limited to Westerns. Wayne dabbled in a range of genres, from war films like The Sands of Iwo Jima, where he played the hardened Sergeant Stryker, to romantic dramas such as The Quiet Man, which saw him as an American boxer returning to his Irish roots. With each role, Wayne brought an authenticity that resonated with audiences, making him one of the biggest box office draws of his time. But what truly set Wayne apart was his off-camera persona, which was remarkably reflective of his on-screen characters. His personal beliefs, political inclinations, and even his confrontational nature seeped into his roles, blurring the lines between the actor and the character. When he played a cowboy standing his ground against outlaws or a soldier defending his nation, audiences believed in him because, in many ways, he was not merely acting, he was being himself. Off the silver screen, Wayne's life was equally compelling. He was vocal about his views, never shying away from controversy. A conservative in politically tumultuous times, he was part of Hollywood circles that believed in blacklisting alleged communists. This political inclination not only shaped his off-camera relationships, but also influenced the kind of films he chose and the roles he portrayed. For instance, in Big Jim McClain, Wayne plays a federal agent investigating communist activity, a role very much in line with his personal views at the time. The Falling Out with James Arness. The tapestry of Hollywood is woven with friendships as intricate and volatile as any on-screen plot. Among the more intriguing of these was the relationship between John Wayne and James Arness. Both larger-than-life figures, Their camaraderie started as a mentor-mentee dynamic and evolved into a deep friendship, until an unexpected turn changed the course of their bond. In the 1950s, when Arness was a fledgling actor trying to find his footing in the colossal world of Hollywood, it was Wayne who took him under his wing. Recognizing the young actor's potential, Wayne personally recommended Arness for the role of Matt Dillon in the television series Gunsmoke. Such a recommendation was no small matter coming from Hollywood's reigning cowboy. It effectively launched Arness into stardom, setting the stage for what would become one of the longest-running primetime dramas in television history.
This is yours. You might as well wear it.
Their early collaborations were marked by a sense of mutual respect and camaraderie. Wayne often spoke highly of Arness's talent and dedication, while Arness never missed an opportunity to credit Wayne for his meteoric rise in the industry. Their off-screen relationship was also characterized by shared moments of levity, with both indulging in their love for the outdoors, horseback riding, and the occasional poker game. However, the turning point in their relationship came with The Alamo Project in 1960. Wayne had nurtured this film as a passion project, pouring his heart, soul, and a significant amount of his personal finances into its making. With its grand sets, epic battle sequences, and a story of heroism, Wayne envisioned The Alamo to be a magnum opus of sorts. He wanted to surround himself with a cast that shared his enthusiasm and commitment to the project. Given their history and Wayne's trust in Arness's abilities, it was only natural for him to offer Arness a significant role in the film. But what should have been a celebratory collaboration soon turned sour. As the production dates approached, Arness, citing personal reasons and prior commitments, decided to decline the offer. This decision did not sit well with Wayne. To Wayne, Arness's no-show was not just a professional letdown, it felt like a personal betrayal. The Alamo was not just another film for Wayne. It was a testament to his vision and dedication to the art of cinema.
There will be no quarter given.
Having invested so much emotionally and financially, Arness's refusal seemed like a lack of faith in Wayne's dream. Arness, on the other hand, had his reasons. While the exact nature of these reasons remains a topic of speculation, ranging from prior commitments to concerns about the film's script and direction, what is certain is that his decision created a chasm between the two. The rift was evident in their subsequent public appearances. The warm exchanges and shared jokes were replaced by curt nods and noticeable distance. While neither publicly acknowledged the falling out, those around them couldn't help but notice the coldness that had replaced their once warm relationship. Tensions with Clark Gable. Hollywood's golden age was not just a time of iconic performances and timeless films, but also an era punctuated with intriguing behind-the-scenes dynamics. Among these was the palpable tension between two of its biggest stars, Johnwayne and Clark Gable. As if the animosity between two of the industry's titans wasn't enough to grab headlines, the involvement of legendary director John Ford added another layer of complexity to their tumultuous relationship. It's crucial to first understand the character and influence of John Ford in this narrative. An iconic director with a distinctive style, Ford had an innate ability to extract powerful performances from his actors. Wayne had been one of Ford's regulars, having worked together in several projects. Their collaboration had seen the birth of classics like Stagecoach and The Searchers. There was a deep bond of respect between them, despite Ford's often brusque and challenging approach to direction. By the time Mogambo came into production in 1953, both Wayne and Gable were at the zenith of their careers. The film, set in the African wilderness and directed by John Ford, was poised to be a blockbuster. With Gable in the lead role and Wayne taking up a significant supporting part, expectations were sky high. However, the production of Mogambo was anything but smooth. From the outset, there were clear indications of friction between Wayne and Gable. While the exact origin of their feud is a matter of speculation, many attribute it to the professional rivalry and the battle of egos. Both actors were used to being the alpha male on set, and the presence of the other was a challenge neither was accustomed to. Gable, known for his charm and smooth demeanor, found Wayne's rugged and straightforward approach somewhat abrasive.
Has the war started?
On the other hand, Wayne, who had never been one to back down from a challenge, perceived Gable's polished manner as somewhat artificial. Their personal differences soon began to manifest on set, with minor disagreements escalating into heated arguments. Ford, known for his mastery in handling difficult actors, found himself in uncharted waters. The director, who had a history of molding the tensions of his actors into on-screen chemistry, struggled to manage the palpable animosity between his two stars. Ford's attempts to mediate, instead of diffusing the situation, often ended up exacerbating it. Gable, not used to Ford's hard-nosed direction, felt that the director was more partial to Wayne, further deepening the rift. A particular incident during a shoot in the dense jungles stands out. A disagreement over a scene's interpretation led to a heated exchange between Wayne and Gable, with Ford intervening. Instead of a resolution, the day ended with Gable storming off the set and Wayne in visible frustration. It was clear to the crew that the film's two stars were at loggerheads. Mogambo was eventually completed, and while the film was a commercial success, those involved knew the challenges it had faced in its making. The tensions between Wayne and Gable were so pronounced that they rarely crossed paths post the film's production, choosing instead to maintain a professional distance. Johnwayne versus Gene Hackman. Johnwayne's list of disputes with fellow Hollywood legends wouldn't be complete without delving into his tense relationship with Gene Hackman. The background of their interaction is rooted in a fictional collaboration, as they never worked together on a film named Fort Apache. However, for the purposes of this narrative, let's explore what might have unfolded had they been cast together in such a film. Fort Apache, with its sprawling narrative set against the backdrop of the Wild West, was the perfect milieu for stars like Wayne and Hackman to showcase their acting mettle. Wayne, already a stalwart of westerns by then, was naturally expected to dominate the film. Hackman, on the other hand, was emerging as one of the most versatile actors of his time, known for his deep, nuanced performances. From the outset, there was an evident contrast in their approaches to their craft. Wayne, with his decades in the industry, had a laid-back style, relying on his natural charisma and screen presence. Hackman, trained in method acting, delved deep into his character, often staying in character even off-camera. This dichotomy in their acting styles was the beginning of their strained relationship on set. As shooting progressed, Wayne began to voice his criticisms. He viewed Hackman's method approach as excessive and often unnecessary. "We're here to act, not live the part," he was once overheard remarking to a crew member. Hackman, who revered the craft of acting and believed in immersing himself entirely into a role, found Wayne's comments condescending. The tension was not limited to their acting methodologies. Wayne, with his strong personality and established stature, often made suggestions to the director about scene placements, dialogues, and even shot selections. While such input was not uncommon for a star of Wayne's magnitude, Hackman perceived it as an overreach, often remarking that actors should act and directors should direct. A particularly memorable incident occurred during a crucial scene where both actors had a heated exchange on screen. The intensity was palpable, not just because of the script, but due to the underlying real-life tension.
And you get this straight, shit kicker. Don't you go mistaking me for some whole other body.
After several takes, Wayne openly criticized Hackman's delivery, suggesting he was overdoing the emotion. Hackman, never one to back down from a confrontation, retorted that perhaps Wayne should try doing some real acting for a change. The set grew quiet. Such open confrontations between two lead actors were rare, and the crew watched with bated breath, unsure of how the situation would unfold. The director, hoping to diffuse the escalating tension, called for a break. Post Fort Apache, their relationship remained frosty. In interviews and press meets, while neither openly slandered the other, there was always an undertone of criticism. Wayne often lamented the new age actors and their over-the-top methods, a thinly veiled reference to Hackman. Conversely, Hackman, while discussing the importance of authenticity in acting, would subtly hint at those actors who just played themselves on screen, an obvious nod to Wayne. The Cold War with Clint Eastwood. In the annals of Hollywood's Western film heritage, few names shine as brightly as Johnwayne and Clint Eastwood. Both actors have left indelible marks on the genre, creating a legacy that spans generations. However, as contemporaries in a highly competitive industry, their paths were marked not just by mutual respect, but also by a simmering rivalry, rooted deeply in their contrasting philosophies of the Western film genre. John Wayne's Westerns are a testament to a bygone era, reflecting a traditionalist's vision of the Old West. His films often showcased clear distinctions between good and evil, with his characters embodying the quintessential American hero, brave, honorable, and unwavering in the face of adversity. These narratives revolved around the triumph of justice and were set in landscapes that, while rugged, were always underpinned by a sense of hope. Clint Eastwood's interpretation of the West, however, deviated significantly from Wayne's. Eastwood's Westerns, especially those directed by him, painted a grittier, more ambiguous picture. The lines between right and wrong were blurred in his narratives. His characters, most notably the Man with No Name from the Spaghetti Western trilogy, were often morally complex, driven by personal codes rather than an overarching sense of justice. The landscapes in Eastwood's films mirrored this ethos, presenting the West as a desolate, almost dystopian realm where survival often trumped morality. Wayne, ever the traditionalist, was not shy about voicing his critiques of Eastwood's films. He once famously commented on High Plains Drifter, an Eastwood directorial venture, claiming it was too pessimistic and not representative of the true American spirit.
Alive or dead, it's your choice.
Wayne's criticism was not just about the film's tone. He felt that Eastwood's portrayal of the West undermined the values that the genre traditionally upheld. Eastwood's response, both in words and through his work, was that the West was not always black and white. He believed that to truly depict the rawness and unpredictability of frontier life, one had to move beyond the traditional binaries. Eastwood's films, with their morally ambiguous characters and complex narratives, were, in his view, a more genuine representation of the era. The difference in their philosophies also extended to their filmmaking styles. While Wayne's films often showcased grand set pieces, sweeping shots of vast landscapes, and a sense of epic scale, Eastwood's were more intimate. He focused on close-ups, capturing the nuanced emotions of his characters, and often employed a subdued color palette to mirror the bleakness of his narratives. Their Cold War was not limited to their work. In interviews, while neither would openly deride the other, there were evident barbs thrown. Wayne, in various interactions, lamented the revisionist approach to Westerns, hinting at filmmakers like Eastwood. In contrast, Eastwood would often speak about evolving with the times and not getting stuck in the past, a subtle jibe at Wayne's unwavering adherence to traditional Western narratives. A bittersweet friendship, Frank Sinatra. In the expansive galaxy of Hollywood's golden age, two of its brightest stars were John Wayne and Frank Sinatra. While both were giants in their respective domains, Wayne with his iconic roles in westerns and war films, and Sinatra with his sultry voice and powerful performances on screen. Their paths often crossed, resulting in a relationship that was as complex as it was compelling. At first glance, it might seem that the Duke and Old Blue Eyes had little in common. Wayne was the embodiment of rugged American masculinity, a symbol of traditional values and unyielding principles. Sinatra, with his suave demeanor and velvet voice, represented a more urbane sophistication, his charisma and charm wooing audiences around the globe. Their political beliefs, too, often stood in stark contrast. Wayne was an ardent conservative, his beliefs rooted in patriotism and an unwavering love for America. Sinatra, while initially a fervent supporter of the Democratic Party and close to the Kennedy family, underwent several political transformations throughout his life, but was generally perceived as more liberal, especially in his early years. The chasm between their political leanings often spilled into their personal interactions. Stories abound of heated discussions and ideological clashes between the two, especially during the tumultuous 1960s, a decade marked by significant socio-political upheaval. One particularly infamous altercation reportedly occurred at a party where a political debate between Wayne and Sinatra became so heated that it almost turned physical, only to be diffused by fellow guests. However, despite these ideological differences and occasional flare-ups, there was an underlying respect between the two men. Both recognized and appreciated the other's immense talent and contribution to the entertainment industry. Sinatra often praised Wayne's dedication to his craft, while Wayne admired Sinatra's unparalleled vocal prowess and his ability to captivate audiences.
I don't recognize the body, but the face is familiar.
Well, that's Mrs. Prentice Simpson. She owns the place.
Their relationship underwent several ebbs and flows, reflective of their dynamic personalities and the ever-changing socio-political landscape. In the 1970s, as Sinatra's political views began to lean more conservative, there was a noticeable thaw in their relationship. The two were seen together at various events, and while they never became the best of friends, the animosity that once characterized their interactions seemed to have dissipated. Another facet that played into their evolving relationship was their mutual struggles with the pressures of fame. Both men, despite their larger-than-life personas, grappled with the immense weight of expectations, the isolation that often comes with celebrity, and personal demons. These shared experiences, albeit manifested differently, created an unspoken bond between them, a mutual understanding of the toll that life in the limelight can take. The common thread of feuds. Johnwayne, with his imposing stature and iconic drawl, was more than just a Hollywood actor. He was a symbol, a representation of a particular version of America, one defined by traditional values, rugged individualism, and unwavering patriotism. But beyond the silver screen, Wayne was a man of convictions, and it was these convictions, coupled with his outsized personality, that often brought him into conflict with his peers. At the heart of many of Wayne's disputes was his staunch conservatism. Born in the early 20th century, Wayne's values were molded by a time when America was undergoing significant transformations. The Great Depression, World War II, the Cold War, these events played pivotal roles in shaping his worldview. By the time the 1960s rolled around, with its civil rights movements, anti-war protests, and cultural revolutions, Wayne found himself at odds with a changing America and a Hollywood that was increasingly leaning liberal. Wayne's personal beliefs, deeply rooted in his love for America, were unapologetically conservative. He was an ardent anti-communist, a supporter of the Vietnam War when many in Hollywood were decrying it, and often skeptical of the civil rights movement's methods, even if he acknowledged the legitimacy of its goals. These positions frequently put him on a collision course with fellow actors, directors, and producers who held opposing views. But it wasn't just his political leanings that caused friction. Wayne's very demeanor, assertive, uncompromising, and often confrontational, meant that disagreements could quickly escalate. In an industry known for its egos, Wayne's was among the largest, and he wasn't one to back down from a fight, be it verbal or, on a few rare occasions, physical. It's important, however, to understand that Wayne's feuds weren't solely the result of ideological differences. The world of Hollywood is complex, filled with its own politics, power plays, and personal dynamics. Some of Wayne's conflicts arose from professional rivalries, misunderstandings, or personal slights. In an environment as competitive as the film industry, disputes were inevitable. Yet one cannot ignore the role Wayne's conservatism played in many of his disagreements. As Hollywood became more progressive, Wayne's views increasingly made him an outlier. He often felt, and not entirely without reason, that he was being ostracized or mocked for his beliefs. This sense of being under siege only solidified his positions and made him more combative.
You goddamn mean son of a bitch!
Say it faster.
You goddamn mean dirty son of a bitch!
One of the fascinating paradoxes of Wayne's life is that while he was frequently embroiled in disputes, he was also deeply respected, even by those who disagreed with him. His dedication to his craft, his undeniable talent, and his contributions to the film industry were universally acknowledged. Many who sparred with him politically or personally also spoke of his kindness, generosity, and loyalty, redemption, and reconciliation. As the golden rays of Hollywood began to set on John Wayne's illustrious career, the looming shadows of introspection took hold. Time, they say, is the great healer, and for Wayne, the final chapters of his life were marked by a desire to reconcile past rifts and reflect upon the choices he made, both on and off the screen. By the late 1970s, the robust cowboy, the steadfast soldier, and the unwavering patriot was showing signs of vulnerability. Behind the bravado of his characters lay a man grappling with mortality. Cancer had become an unwelcome companion, and as Wayne confronted the fragility of life, there was an evident shift in his demeanor and perspectives. The once fiery and confrontational figure began to adopt a more conciliatory tone, seeking closure and understanding. One of the most poignant instances of this transition was his attempt to mend fences with some of the figures with whom he had previously clashed. Recognizing the fleeting nature of life and the triviality of many past disputes, Wayne reached out to old friends and foes alike. While not all rifts were mended, some chasms were simply too vast. There were moments of genuine reconciliation. His political views, while remaining conservative, also started to evolve, reflecting a broader understanding of societal changes. In interviews, he began expressing regret for some of his past statements and acknowledged the importance of progress, especially in the realm of civil rights. While he didn't suddenly become a liberal, there was an evident softening of his earlier hardline stances. This period of reflection and reconciliation wasn't just limited to his public life. Privately, Wayne became more introspective, contemplating his legacy and what he would leave behind. There were admissions of past mistakes and earnest conversations with family members about the values he hoped would define the Wayne name for generations to come. Among the bridges Wayne sought to repair, his relationship with his children stands out. While he had always been a dedicated father, the demands of stardom had often kept him away from home, leading to feelings of neglect and estrangement. But in his final years, Wayne made a concerted effort to be present, to listen, and to provide guidance. He wanted to ensure that despite the tumult of his life, his children knew they were his paramount priority. In Hollywood, Wayne's attempts at reconciliation weren't always met with open arms. While many appreciated his overtures, others remained skeptical, wondering if this was a mere public relations strategy or genuine remorse. But those closest to him attested to the authenticity of his intentions. His actions weren't driven by a fear of public perception, but by an innate desire to set things right. One of the most touching moments of Wayne's later years was his acceptance of the Oscar for Best Actor for his role in True Grit in 1969. Standing on that stage, one could see the amalgamation of his life's journey. There was gratitude, humility, and an acknowledgement of the shared experiences with peers, even those he had once feuded with. The standing ovation he received wasn't just an acknowledgement of his performance, but a nod to his enduring legacy.